tell you exactly when we're live. We are live right now, and I will try to tweet it out. I fucking fucked up and didn't put it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Maybe it went out. I'm not sure.
I got nothing to do with it, so I'm fine.
Let's see. I think invite. Let's see. Share. Nope. Oh my god! And now the thing's not working. Holy shit! That's so stupid. All right. Well, anyways, you and I, it looks like we'll just be chit chatting.
Yeah, that's cool.
No. Hold on. Let me go on YouTube. It'll be on YouTube, and I'll just do it from there. We got no followers right now, so we're good. Well, let's just start with the Sean Manaea. I think that's how I pronounce his name. He's a pretty good pitcher. Manaea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
How do you feel about that trade, and what did the Padres give up? Basically, is what I think most people want to know.
Well, I usually like most.
What did they give up?
Trades. Yeah, I like most of prospect trades. They gave up two guys that were both in their top 10. One guy was Rubio Angles, who was a guy they signed internationally from the Dominican Republic. He led the Cal League in hitting. We liked him a lot. Obviously he's in the top 10, but he's probably profiles more as a second baseman or third baseman than a shortstop. There's kind of some questions about, you're a longtime Padre guy. You probably remember Cedric Hunter, the center fielder that was coming up like years ago.
Yeah.
He has a kind of a similar skill set. He can get the bat to the ball to a lot of pitches, which works really great in rookie leagues and A-ball. But kind of when you get to Double-A, there's some questions. I'm not sure. He was going to be at Fort Wayne this year, which is in High A now. I'm not he's kind of a wild card, but there's just a lot of guys who can play second base in an organization that are probably better than him. So he's the type of guy you should move. The number 8 guy was a guy I liked a lot. Adrian Martinez was a pitcher. I saw him in San Antonio this past year. And, El Paso, he had a real breakout year. He's much more of a sinker slider guy with a really improving two-seamer and change. He was dominant in Double-A until he got to Triple-A. He kind of struggled, then he came back a little bit. He probably profiled as number 4 or number 3 starter if he looked right and squinted in the right way. He had been kind of really a disappointing career until this year when he put a lot of things together. But yeah, to get a guy like Sean Manaea, I think it was a good deal, and it helped take a little of the sting out of our mouths from yesterday when all of us kind of melted down a little bit about the thought of Hosmer leaving. And that day was just really interesting on so many levels about whether Hosmer leaves, about kind of the role of media and how they tweet and what we should be expecting as fans, what we should not. I mean, there's a whole bunch of issues on that.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Like, who do you think's to blame on that? Because it's the same crap that keeps happening, and it doesn't seem like it happens to other teams. Like, I don't see, like, you'll see some rumors on other teams, but with the Padres, it feels like it's just like, oh, this is happening for sure. Like, there's no doubt. Like the Brian Reynolds one didn't seem like that was happening. I'm not going to necessarily say that one, but yesterday, I mean, it felt like it was already like inked, and it was a done deal, and they just had to go through medicals basically. And it just seems like with Preller, since we've had Preller, we get a lot of shit that's leaked out. I mean, that's kind of where I see it. I don't know where you see it on.
Well, one, I got my big silver cup, not the red cup, which I promised yesterday. So
I'm drinking water today. Actually,
yeah, I got to work tomorrow too, man. So I got water too.
Yeah, if I got work, I usually don't drink.
Yeah, I try not to at work. People frown upon that. Well, one, I mean, we cover the minor leagues, so the stuff we have on the Padres is the same as you guys have. Everyone else, the fans do. From what I've seen around the Padres, around their development guys, and that they keep a pretty tight lid on stuff. So the Mets, again, this is not from any reporting I did. The Mets are known kind of as a squad that has a lot of people, a lot of connections. And so are
New York media.
Yeah, and so, I think more of that came out of there. My guess, again, my assumption is maybe the Padres just confirmed it. And then on top of that, in both cases, as much as, and I'm with everybody else who's on here probably. I'm a Padres fan. I would have loved to see both. Maybe not the Scherzer deal go down, but especially the Mets one. And both times those guys reported that it's a good chance to happen. It's could be likely to happen, but they didn't say it did happen. And so maybe all of us are kind of taking it out on these guys because it didn't go down. And put it this way, I thought, just because I have a lot of friends back east that are Mets fans, I thought the Mets and the Padres were a good match. I didn't think they were a good match for Hosmer. Frankly, I don't hate Hosmer or dislike him or wish him any ill will. He just hasn't been that good. I just don't think there's any
Right. That's
market
how I.
for him. Yeah. I mean, for everything I've read, I've met him a couple times. He's a decent guy. He seems popular. He was really popular in Kansas City. He had that thing when the Royals won the World Series, went to a bar and bought everyone a round of drinks for the whole night, had like a $12,000 bar tab, and things like that are cool. But he just hasn't played that well. And I think what makes it really bitter for a lot of Padres fans is there's a lot of our friends that are really good with advanced statistics and numbers, like a good friend of mine, Danny Ortiz, who was adamant when they signed Hosmer that this was a bad move. This was a bad deal. And unfortunately, I was kind of ambivalent because I could read the numbers like anybody else, but I thought there had to be something I was missing for them to sign him for that much. So I probably should have spoke out more myself.
Yeah, I was wrong on him too. I mean, I didn't like an 8-year deal, 144 million. I was like, I wouldn't do that. But I would have done like 5 for 100. So I was wrong on that. And he just hasn't produced. And the thing that pisses me off the most about the guy is his defense. It's one thing if you can't hit like you used to. I think some guys, that you kind of expect that as the years go on, like they start approaching the 30s. Your numbers are going to dip a little bit. Your power is going to dip, and maybe your bat speed's not the same. But there's no reason to play the defense that he played last year and most of the time that he's been here. I mean, the defense, he was a liability last year. I was like, dude, you got to get him out of the game right now. Like, he was that bad.
And what's worse for me,
in that sense,
he's Well, I was going to say what's worse for me is I'm good friends with miserable Padre fan, and I got to listen to him just bitch at me on Twitter the whole time about how bad his defense sucks, and I can't call him a big idiot because he's right. His defense is bad.
Oh yeah,
that's not a tough position.
I had to eat it. I had to eat it for sure. I mean, because I thought like I don't know. I guess I was kind of pro Hosmer, and I still kind of like the Padre Twitter. You can't just blame everything on one guy. Like, dude, that's just stupid to me. It seems like they just blame everything on Hosmer. Just like, well, if we didn't have Hosmer, it's like I don't even think that trade would have been a good trade for the Padres yesterday. I really don't, because it would be now because you got Sean Manaea. Maybe it would be, but I'm worried that they don't have enough pitchers under contract for the next couple of years. And I would actually like you to talk about this in the sense that, okay, you got Darvish and Snell will have one more year after this year, or one more year after this year. Yeah. So they're up in 2024. They're free agents. Okay.
I think Darvish might
Musgrove's not under contract.
Right. Yeah.
No, they're both the same. Snell and Snell and Darvish are going to be free agents in 2024. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Musgrove's not under contract. Yeah, they can sign him, but until they do, he's not under contract. Clevenger's a free agent after this year as well. Nick Martinez has opt-outs, and they're player opt-outs. So let's say he has a phenomenal season. He could say, bye, Felicia, I'm out. Or you're going to have to overpay for him, one or the other. Then you got Gore. Gore would be a guy. And then Paddock. Sean Manaea is not under contract for next year either. So technically he doesn't for next year. So you would have two guys under contract, and then you could say Weathers. Tell us, John, what else is down there? I mean, you just traded Adrian Martinez. He could have been a guy that could have helped you.
Yeah, I'm
So
supposed to
what
come
else do
on. I'm
they?
pretty
What
positive.
else?
I'm a pretty positive guy. Not a lot in Double A and Triple A. You know, there really isn't. Adrian Martinez was clearly the best pitcher above there. You know, Gore Gore's his own story, which has been well documented. I think Gore looks great. I hope they keep him up here. You know, obviously, I think some things will change. Darvish is getting a little older. I mean, I don't think it's inconceivable that like Snell, Clevenger, and Musgrove would all be some type of signings ahead of time. Right now, they have a lot of depth. I think in terms of, you know, I think sending Weathers down today was a good move. I think, you know, Saris, who
Oh
goes
yeah.
on our friends the Ben and Woods show, he made, I think, a great point that he needs to develop into more of a two-seamer sinker guy instead of what he was trying to do is live up in the zone with a high curveball. That's just not his stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good question. I mean, I wish I had a crystal ball to tell you what could happen. They had a pretty good draft this year of some pitchers, and they were pretty aggressive at putting these guys who they took college guys up at Fort Wayne at high A. A couple of them could move quicker. We
Okay.
could have a more interesting discussion at the end of the year. But as far
Okay.
as, you know, giving you some master plan, no, I don't know. I mean, I think those are all legitimate concerns that we're going to have to kind of see how the season plays out.
See, that's what I worry about. Is Padre Twitter looks at Paddock and just thinks, I don't know. I think his ERA was like 5 last year, and I'm like, I think he's
Yeah.
going to have a breakout season this year. To be honest, but let's say he doesn't. Like, at least I can throw him in a starting rotation, and I don't feel like, oh my god, I have no chance with this guy. I feel like at least he still has potential, and he's got innings. He's been pretty healthy, since he's been up here.
Right.
At least I could
Well,
get him in a like pencil him in a starting rotation. Padre Twitter just wants to trade him and Weathers, and I'm like, guys, what else you got that's going to be under control and not cost fucking 15, 20 million for your starting, pitcher besides Gore? So I don't know. I wouldn't
well,
do that I wouldn't have done that Hosmer deal unless they ate more of Hosmer's contract and I got relief out of that. I just feel like we were
well, let me
eating
ask you
too much
this:
of the contract. Mm-hmm.
if you look at Paddock, because I know you watch MILB games, and we've gone back and forth in this, so you've seen Paddock pitch for a long time. And like when I saw Paddock in San Antonio, when I saw him when he was really good in the first season, the thing that made him so good was he would hit all 4 quadrants with his fastball. And then the changeup worked so effectively because it looked like it was a screw up when he's trying to hit the low fastball, and then it would just drop off the face of the earth and swing and miss. So last year, if you look at it, what Rothschild did was he said, well, you're missing too much low. Let's take that away. Let's emphasize the curveball more. So he throws everything up. His curve, you can see from a mile away. No one's swinging at his changeup because that's the only time he's not throwing the low fastball. So you're just going to let that go. So he becomes this like one pitch pitcher, and you can't do that. And so I think he could have a really good year, and he's going to benefit from having a different pitching coach than Rothschild. It's just the same thing as we were talking about on Weathers. I think that was a big problem the Padres had this past season. I don't want to just make one guy a scapegoat, but a lot of the modern guys will tell you this is what we saw with Quantrill is, hey, this pitch works, this doesn't. And there hasn't been enough people where they're trying to make everyone kind of the same cookie cutter pitcher. They're not.
Yeah. And my thing on Weathers is if you look at the way, and I think you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He was in low A. Next thing you know, he's in the major leagues. Like that's not right. That's not the right development. You're supposed to go through the normal development. And then the following season, they had him. I was like, oh, he'll be in Double A and he'll get a full season in the minor leagues. And the following season, they had him in the major leagues. And I was like, this is not helping this kid's development. So I think hopefully, now he's in Triple A. At least half of the season, I'm assuming he's going to be down there. And if he just completely dominates, and then fine. Then I feel better about him. But right now, it's like I feel like they messed with him mentally, like he's getting bombed and he's facing major league pitching when he's just not ready, or major league hitting when he's just not ready.
There's one caveat. I brought this up when I was on the Darren Smith show, and this is really tough for all of us to understand, is in 2020 when you had the pandemic, these guys were at the alternate site. And so when I talked to Sam
Mm-hmm.
Gainey, who was then the Padres development of minor league director of development, he pointed out that for some guys this really worked really well. Other guys it didn't. And supposedly Weathers was one of the guys facing major league pitching, which was better than high A or
Mm-hmm.
double A. Now the problem is those games, even though we weren't allowed in there, were pretty much spring training games. So it depends how much emphasis you want to put on how much that helped him as compared to going through the normal minor league system. Like last year, I'm with you. I would have probably sent him down to AAA at least to start. But the problem that I'm seeing right
Mm-hmm.
now is back then is if they're telling him, hey, you got to pitch up in the zone with that fastball and you got to throw that curveball like your Mackenzie Gore, that's not him. That's not what he does. I see Allen had a good part. Morejon, yeah, Morejon should be back. I think from what we saw about mid-year,
Mid-season? Yeah.
mid-season in AAA, but Morejon I've been banging the drum on for years. When he's on, he's outstanding. The problem is having him on the field,
Yeah,
and that's that. Yeah,
yeah.
he's thrown like a career like 70 innings,
Mm-hmm.
65.1 if I had the
Yeah,
numbers in front of me. So yeah,
but that's like the point I'm trying to get on. You can't count on him. He's already had 2 Tommy Johns. Like
no,
to me, he's more of like a luxury. If he pans out and still, to me, he's probably
he's a
going to
lottery
be a
ticket.
middle reliever, you know, a spot starter here and there because guy's never thrown. I think it's 90 innings. I think or 70 innings, like you said, is the most he's ever thrown in a season. Like, can't count on him. You can't go into 2023 and go, oh, Adrian Morejon, we're penciling him as one of our starters. Can't do that.
Well, I
I
think the
hope he
toughest
pans
thing
out. I
people
mean, the
say
kid's
is, yeah, well, one what you just said is what people should go off of. You can't pencil them in. I'm not saying you can't count them out. I'm saying a lot of things you don't know. So if you don't know, you can't count
right.
somebody in. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, you can't bank.
No, he's a lottery ticket. I hope he works. So
Exactly.
so's Michelle Baez.
Yeah.
I saw him, was amazing, but he
Yeah.
hurt his back. He's been injured. He's coming off Tommy John. He's another guy. Yeah, and the pitching last year at Double A and Triple A, you have Reese Kinnear who can pitch better if he gets appropriate separation on his changeup and fastball. But you're still talking about a number 5, the number 4 starter. It's
Yeah.
not like a top of the line guy. As far as going back to what we really talked about the Hosmer trade, yeah, if it asked for Paddock, I would have done that to get him moved. I maybe even would have thought about trading him straight up with a couple guys coming back for Smith, and maybe that would be wrong. But the problem that the Padres have, and it's not all Hosmer's fault, but having that guy get that many at bats and that many plate appearances and hitting in the middle of your order is pretty tough. To be a real winning team. And just the thing is, it's just overall numbers for that power position, which hurt. And I think you're stuck with them. And I think the thing that is really disappointing is if at least you had Dominic Smith back. If you're talking about Dominic Smith, Luke Voigt, and the guy that just came over having a senior moment from the Dodgers.
Matt Betty.
Yeah, you at least have
Matt Betty.
You'd have 4 guys. You'd be talking about 4 guys for 3 spots. Right now, you got 3 guys for 3 spots. So whether you like Hosmer or not, he's pretty much going to play unless you put Jerks and Profar in there. And
he's playing.
And I like. I've always been a big fan of Preller. I've supported him, and I still do. But as Hosmer contract is pretty bad too. Any chance Lamet can bounce back as a starter? In my opinion, his starting days are over. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think Brendan's right. I mean, I think we'd all like to see Lamet as a starter, but I don't see that myself.
He's
I
a
could be wrong
now.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm almost positive I believe his contract's up too. I mean, he's a reliever, so I mean, if you could get 60 innings out of him, you're enjoying that.
Yeah, and it's not easy being a reliever. I mean, you're talking about getting up and pitching on a regular basis, even though you're only throwing 1 inning. That is kind of some brutal on the arm.
What do you think?
What's Gore's role?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Craig. I'm sorry.
What do you think Gore's? You think he's going to make the team? right from the get-go? I'm a little worried on that.
I
don't think they
would.
really need him right now.
I would, just for
You
this
would?
one reason, is because from everything I saw, and I hate using this word sources. I think it just pisses me off. But when we were out there at various levels, you saw about 9 or 10 guys telling him what to do. And I think that messed him up, because the Gore we saw in 2019 was as good as any minor league pitcher I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen this a lot. So right now, I like what Gore's doing. I like what Nabla is working with. I like how one guy is working with him and telling him what to do. And I want to see him stay there. I don't want to see. I don't think sending him back to AAA would help him. And I'm even kind of that way on Campusano too. So that's some other issues that we can get into. Since you and I are both sitting here on a Sunday night, figuring why not talk some Padres?
Yeah. They say Gore just gave up a grand slam. I mean, whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't really care.
A lot of
Yeah.
those parts,
I mean,
I could hit the ball deep, and that's not a that's not a great thing, man.
Yeah, Camposuano, I mean, you got 4 catchers right now. I don't see how he makes the team. I mean, he's got to go down to the minors, I would assume, but
Yeah.
What is he now? How old is he? 23?
He's 22 or 23.
Now.
Yeah, one, you're right. He's the guy that would go down between of those guys. I'd rather see them. I just checked. He's 23. Yeah, I'd rather see them move Caratini and keep Campusano on there, because I saw Campusano was in El Paso twice last year, and offensively, he has nothing to prove in AAA. He scuffled in San Diego in April. He kind of was getting his feet wet in April, and then from like June to August, he was just dominant. And the stuff is there behind the plate, his arm and all that. I just think a lot of development for young players takes place at the major league level, and so that's where I would put him. I think working with Bob Melvin, former major league catcher, having Francisco there as a catching instructor. Nola, who I like, isn't going to catch 150 games. He could work with Nola and how to pair that.
No chance at 150 games.
Yeah, and I think I told Darren the other day, as much as I kind of get the point that, no one really looks at catchers are judging their defense and all this. Yeah, that's true. But, Chandler Siegel in San Antonio is a better defensive catcher than Campusano. Now, Chandler has yet to hit 200 in any pro season, okay? So, hitting matters. I mean, Campusano is a guy who, if he had enough at-bats, he could literally hit 25 or 30 bombs. I mean,
yeah,
he's 5'11", 232. There's some off-the-field issues with him and how well he interacts with people and a lot of the intangibles is going to catching, but I think the best place for him to develop that would be at the major leagues. I think if you send him back to El Paso, he's not going to be in the best of moods. So, yeah, I agree with what Brendan said. Yeah, I don't think he has anything. Offensively.
I'm just wondering how he's going to get at bats, though. Regular at bats in the major league. I mean, Alfaro's going to be ahead of him, and so is Nola.
Well, it's a fair question. I mean, I think the whole question is how comfortable would you feel playing Voit at first base? Camp even played first base a little bit. And I think it comes back to the fact kind of built into a Padres Twitter conspiracy theory, which I think has a little bit of legs to it, is how comfortable are they sitting Hosmer down against certain guys and not just against a tough lefty? I mean, getting him at bats, look, you can really make that argument either way. I'm convinced. Do you get him more at bats to play regularly, send him down there where he, kind of had some issues, and how much will that improve him? Or do you keep him up at the major leagues and have him play maybe 2 or 3 times a week at some various position, get at bats, and learn how to be a big league catcher? Because talent-wise, just pure talent-wise, I'd take him over the other 3 guys. But that's me.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think of this? What was his name? I got 2 pitchers for you because I think the guy's going to make the team. Steven Wilson.
Wilson, yeah.
I don't know much about him. 27 years old.
Yeah, Kevin did a good profile of him when he was in Lake Elsinore. I think he was a ninth or 10th round pick. So those are the guys. Usually, when you see a guy picking the eighth, ninth, and 10th rounds, you think it's kind of higher than it is, but it's counterintuitive. Those are the guys who they know are not going to get drafted, pretty much. So they tell them, like, I'll tell you what, we'll draft you, but we're going to give you about $5,000 or $1,000 so we can save money in the bonus pool. Wilson was one of those guys, worked his butt off, came up, mainly a fastball slider guy, had a pretty good year. I think he was in our, at least in my top 30, I think he was close in our top 20. Good, probably a better candidate than Kevin Kopps, who everyone likes so much right now, the fastball slider guy. Yeah, good candidate. I'm sorry, who was the other guy you mentioned?
The other guy I was going to mention, I didn't say him, but Ethan Elliott, is that someone? Where's he going to be this year in Double-A?
They've kept that kind of quiet.
Doesn't he?
We didn't see him. We didn't see him pitch. He supposedly has some forearm tightness. So, and they're being quiet about that. Usually, that means he's kind of bound. Ethan Elliott was another guy who was one of those 10th round picks. Got a little bit of money. Really impressive story. Worked his way into the Fort Wayne, and then a lefty. And then he kind of got lit up a little bit in Double-A. He throws about in the high 80s, has a fastball changeup. We see too many of these guys. Oh, someone came in and must have said something snotty.
No, I'm just, the way you said he's already gotten something wrong with his arm. I'm figuring now with Preller, maybe he's going to try to slip a trade. I wanted to talk about Victor Lazaria. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Lazarga. Okay, now I got a guy that's telling me that kind of almost does kind of like what you guys do. And he tells me, he's like, Medi, this guy's going to be good. He tells me he can throw some smoke.
Yeah, he's like a lot of young guys. He's just kind of inconsistent about where the ball is going and all of his pitches. I think they're going to probably be I think they did put him on the Lake Elsinore roster, so you'll get a chance to go see him. He's a big Latin kid, about 6'2", 6'3", about 180, soaking wet. He's going to be working with a good manager there in Eric Jung. It's Jung, but it's pronounced Young. And he's a former pitcher, pitched a little bit, had a cup of coffee in the big leagues. He'll do well with him. You can bring on David J., who's like the king of all the Latin guys, and he'll let you know how ignorant you are for not knowing who the 28th guy on the Dominican Summer League roster is. So we'll bring him on.
Well, I go to East Village times for that stuff.
Yeah, us too.
And my buddy also told me that he says James Wood is got a nice, pretty swing.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen him play.
Yeah, well, Wood helped. It's weird. Wood helped us out a lot because after every draft, we do
6'7", 240.
Yeah, no, he's bigger. He's 255 now, and he's lean. Yeah, he's like both of us. He's about 3%. He's about 5% body fat, right? So the Padres drafted him, and he was like the real top pick because I think you're like me. You go by what guys get paid on the bonus. So we got the biggest bonus of last year's draft. So at the end of every draft, we usually interview Keith Law. We interview J.J. Cooper and Jim Callis. So we interviewed Keith Law, and Law said, I talked to various scouts. He was a bad pick by the Padres, looks disinterested. I don't think he's going to hit, and just got us all these clicks. So that was kind of fun. So Wood goes out in the ACL and hits 370 with power. He had like about a 450 on base. I don't have it in front of me. You do about a 500. I interviewed him in the spring. He's a guy who his dad played professional basketball overseas for about 8 years, and his parents are from the DC area. He went down to the IMG Academy, gave up baseball. They were running this guy out there in center field. He can run. He looks like, you watch basketball.
Oh, Wood was in.
Yeah.
He was in center field?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Now they're going to run him out there again.
That's
he's out
impressive
there.
because it says right here.
Go
It
ahead.
says right here he was 10 for 10 on stolen bases.
Yeah, he can run.
I mean, 6'7"?
Yeah,
I think he chose the wrong sport.
No, they've always tried to put him in basketball because his dad was a pro basketball. He just likes baseball. Left-hand hitter, serious power, great swing. The Padres were telling us, I think Mark Conniff is okay with this thing. This who's the director of player development. They're not sure he's stopped growing. Okay, so he's 6'7", 6'8", and this is the part that gets all prospect guys just nuts.
If he gets to 6'9", it'll be miserable Padres' favorite player.
Oh, he already is. Yeah, but he's he loves Mitchell Padre fan loves big guys like Ortiz likes all midgets under 5'5". So it's kind of a Mud and Jeff thing. But they think Wood could end up around 6'8", 260, patrolling center field. So and hitting bombs. So they made a couple adjustments with his swing. They kind of stretched him out, got him standing up a little bit more. He's going to be in like Elsinore. I think he's going to play a little bit of right, and they're going to keep him in the middle of the field. Nice kid, real low key, real kind of happy where he's been and what he accomplished. But he has a lot in front of him. But man, if you're not excited about the prospect of a 6'8", 260-pound potential bomber in center field, not saying he's going to do that, but just the thought of that. I mean, that gets anybody pretty excited. He's a good pitcher.
I had never seen him play, and I just looked at the profile. I figured 6'7". I'm like, okay, it's either first base or right field or DH. If you're center field and then 10 for 10 on stolen bases, that's
he's not Kyle
a lot
Banks.
of pluses.
No,
okay. I was kind of thinking more like
no. He's like, and someone pointed out, which was a good thing. It was Derek Torkelson. I mean, he made a great comment is that, in the NBA, we're used to guys that are 6'6" or 6'7" that play point guard. That's not a big shock now. And baseball's finally going to get to the point where we're getting certain types of athletes that are big guys that can move. And one of our writers, Mark Wilkins, who's just a beast of a human being. He's like 6'8", 290. And he always likes watching big guys. And he made the point that you watch James Wood play center field, and he saw him in a couple games in the ACL. You don't notice that he's 6'7". You just think, hey, man, that guy's a good athlete. Then you see him running in, and it's like, oh, shit. He's like about a full, 8 inches taller than everybody. And that's so,
that's sweet.
Yeah, so like when David and I saw him out there, he did a lot of work in the weight room, and he was up to 255, and it looks like he could put on a good 10 or 15 pounds more. I mean, he's lean.
That's awesome. Because I mean, if he's playing center field in the minor leagues, let's say he's not even good enough in the majors to play center field, that means he's going to be really good in the right field or left field, like athleticism wise.
Oh, yeah.
So to me, that's fantastic. I mean, I saw the profile. I'm like, okay, this is first base or right field, and probably a liability on defense. And now I'm more stoked on that kid. And Brendan wants to know, is he like a home run guy, or like kind of like Gallo and strikes out, like just boom or bust? I mean,
here's the best answer.
Will he be?
You guys numbers in front of you? You guys numbers right in front of you?
No, I have. No, let me.
He had a
let me see.
on
I don't have the stats. It's like I have like the profile. Okay, he got off to a fast start. 372, 465, 535.
Yeah, he's not a boomer bust.
Over last 20.
Yeah, 100 plate appearances.
That's good.
He's much more of he's a baseball guy. I mean, you talk to him, he likes baseball. He likes everything about baseball. And basketball is kind of forced on him, and supposedly the rumor was that Preller saw a video of him playing basketball, and he said, my God, how did we get this guy to play baseball? That was really an impressive guy. He had a bad streak in high school, because if you're asking how did they get him, he had like for 6 weeks, he was just bad. And a lot of scouts win this disinterested thing. He's a very calm guy. He kind of has a Machado type thing where a lot of things look really easy to him. And so his contract demands were a little high, his bonus, and they kind of fell off. And the Padres were in the right place to get him. And at that place in the draft, that's where you should kind of be swinging for the fences.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I mean, that especially now when you're telling me his athleticism. I like this question here from Kirk. How fast could Abrams transition into the outfield? And before you answer that, I'll kind of give my take on this.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't understand what the fuck they're doing. You signed Kim, okay? You already had Tatis and Cronenworth. So you basically have Kim that could either back them up or, if you have a DH or Cronenworth wants to play first base, fine. But if your number one prospect is a shortstop second baseman, why isn't he getting an outfield glove the minute that Kim was signed? I don't understand. I don't know what the hesitation is. Everyone's telling me, well, they want him comfortable. Well, you're going to get him comfortable, and then when is he going to come up and then be like, well, I don't have a spot to play?
Well, I'll tell you what the Padres, which I think Sam Gainey told me before he left, and I'll tell you what Philip Wellman said, who was his AA manager last year. So we'll get away from people say or sources say. We'll go like these are guys' names. They said what you just said. They wanted to get him comfortable. Their belief is if he can play shortstop in the middle of the field, he can play anywhere. His first year, they wanted to keep him in kind of the same place. When he was at San Antonio, they play 6 times a week. He would play 5 games at shortstop, 1 game at second base. I think they eventually see him as having the most value in the infield. The second thing is they've never said they wouldn't put him out in the outfield. As far as why they didn't immediately get him an outfield glove and have him, let's say what you're saying, have him play 4 times a week and shortstop, once at second base and once out in the outfield just to get comfortable. I don't know why they didn't do that. Mm-hmm. As far as Kim, from what I understand, Kim was always seen to be signed for the exact reason he's going to be used right now. If something went down to some guy, this guy could take extended at bats. Someone who, for my work, has been over to Korea a bunch of times and has seen a few Korean baseball league games. Kim looked like a lot of guys you saw over there the first year with a big leg kick and a lot of setup, and he's shortened it. He's a very good defensive player. I, for one, kind of want to see what he can do. Abrams, I just missed seeing him live because I think the week I went out to San Antonio, he just had gone down with his leg injury. The best way to describe him is what his manager described as how, because I think I said this before. I asked Wellman, how do you compare him to Tatis? And most of those guys would sit there and him and Wellman's a straight shooter. He said, he's just a much more quiet player. He doesn't spend a lot of time on the ground. He looks very smooth. He has probably better speed than Tatis. Sure. At this age, he had a better strike zone awareness. He doesn't have the power. He doesn't have a huge arm. I mean, a couple of us kind of disagree on that on MadFriars. I think he's got a plus arm. I mean, I think it's more than average. I think his problem is with his feet sometimes, which causes his accuracy to go off. But again, I think you just got to play him a little bit more. And also, when you look at the big picture, regardless of how much time you spent at the alternate site, I can't think of anybody that went from the Arizona League or the Rookie League AA. So that's kind of a two-part thing. One, going from there and performing the way he did is incredible. As far as how he is as a AA player, I think he was very good. But I think there's some things I think he did struggle against some breaking stuff because he hadn't seen that much of it. I think he struggled pulling the ball a little bit. If it were up to me, and Priller doesn't really contact me about personnel decisions as of yet about who I think should be on the roster, but I would start him off at least for the first month. See what we have with Kim. If Kim,
say that again.
I would start him off.
Where you would start him off
in El Paso. I thought initially I'd put him in San Antonio at the beginning of the year. I think after seeing him play, I think you got to put him in El Paso. I'd see what he does there. I would see what Kim does in San Diego. If Kim can't, hit at just a league average rate and go along with plus defense, then signing him was That's another big mistake that really hurts.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Because to me, it sounded like what Bob Melvin was saying is they might platoon the two, and I'm like, you're just hurting the growth of both of them. So the plan maybe is Abrams against right-handers and Kim against left-handers, and it's like, dude, these guys need at bats like every day. Not both of them do, because basically Kim is still like a goddamn prospect, which I argue with people. Mickey Koch wants to tell me everything. He's telling me that, oh, well, he's like a prospect. I'm like, well, that's not a good contract. You're signing him a 4-year deal for $28 million if you think he's a prospect. And we're going into a second year. I don't know how many at bats he got last year. We don't know anything really on Kim. We know he's a hell of a defensive player, probably be a Gold Glover. I mean, he makes every play. He doesn't, like you were saying, he doesn't make the Tatis spectacular play, but he's like Drew Brees and just like short passes. Well, Tatis is like Stafford making, the big play, but then he'll throw the big interception in the air. So I'd rather have the guy that's just, you can count on night in and night out defensively. But hitting, we don't know if he can hit. It doesn't.
No, he should have been.
What's that?
In my opinion, last year he should have been El Paso.
Yes, in the
that's where I would have had him go there. But that's done.
Apparently, they couldn't sign him unless he was on the major league team. He said, "I want to be on a major league team." That's why the Padres were able to sign him. However you want to look at it, it's a dumb contract so far, in my opinion. Because if you're telling me, if you're the organization and you're telling me we're going to platoon this guy right now, that means you think he can't hit right-handed pitching. And if he can't hit right-handed pitching, the hell you get $28 million for?
Right. Well, he did have in his contract. No one wants to
talk about it.
He did have in his contract for his first 2 years, he could be sent down to the minors. So if they thought he could, so I don't know I don't know exactly what was or was not promised to him. But as far as I would have explained it to him that it's better off for him.
But the rumor was though, hey, if you say I'm going to be on the major league roster to start last year, then I'll sign with you. I guess that was kind of like I guess Toronto was the other team, and Toronto was like, we're going to put you in the minor leagues, which is the right thing. And he said, that was like the rumor. I don't know. I'm not there. Yeah, I'm not Mickey Koch. I don't have AJ Preller's number. So I mean, okay, but then to me, that's a mistake. It's not, well, okay, this guy's demanding this. I mean, eventually the demand, you got to say no. I mean, that's just the way I would have done it. But right now, if you're not, in my opinion, if this organization is not throwing Kim out there every game for at least the first month, then they believe he can't play. If you're going to platoon him with Abrams, which to me stunts the growth of Abrams, and it stunts the growth, and we don't find out necessarily on Kim, to me, it's two whammies on one. I would put Abrams in the minor league. I'd put him in the outfield, and I would tell him, you get a fucking glove out there and you play center field. We're going to put Grisham next year in right field or what have you. I mean, that's what I would do. Because even when Tatis comes back, is he going to play? He's not going to play it short over Tatis unless Tatis moves to the outfield. Someone's got to go to the outfield.
I think, and this is a guess on my part, it's not based on anything I talked to or this is, I think once this season ends the season where Hosmer makes $20 million a year. It's 3 years at $39 million, $13 million a year. I think one way or another, this is it. Because I think if you actually kept Abrams in the minors for the full year, okay, he comes up, he plays second base, either Cronenworth goes to first base or left field, wherever it is. The guy that we haven't talked about yet, I think, who I'm a big fan of, and I thought it was a lot closer to Abrams in the national ranking. He should have been close to Abrams in the national rankings is Hassel. And Hassel was the guy who the alternate site really, really helped a lot, who had just a dominant year at Lake Elsinore. He just kind of wore down a little bit by the time he got to Fort Wayne. He looked great this spring when I saw him. I think there's a good chance if he gets off to a good start, he'll be in San Antonio in a month. And, they could play him a full year of Double A, and then you could be looking at Hassel having a shot to make the major leagues. And Hassel, to me, the big surprise coming out of the draft is Hassel's a center fielder. And, I mean, I know you're a football guy, and you probably get a kick out of this analogy is when you watch Hassel play center field, it's like watching a really good free safety. He doesn't take a wrong first step, and he can run, he can accelerate. Nice guy, bit of the red ass.
Don't let the ball go over your head.
He won't.
Don't let it go over your head.
Very smart.
Let everything come in front.
Yeah, he's a smart, very intelligent guy. Great approach at the plate. And, he told me, it was in our article at MadFriars, which was a good story, and people got to think about this. Hassel was an overall top 10 pick, was on a couple U.S. national teams, gets drafted. They send him out immediately to the alternate site. And he told this story. He said, suddenly, I'm looking over to my right, and there's Grisham playing center, and they have Manny in the shift. He's in front of me, and I'm 18, and a couple weeks ago I was in high school, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this? I mean, this is real. And, he got to go face major league pitching, and that's how he learned to kind of go to left field. If you watch him then, he sprays the ball to all fields. And the thing that was most impressive, he had a 3-home-run night in Fort Wayne, and, he hit one to dead center, he hit one to right, and then he hit one to opposite field. And he's 19 years old. I mean, I hope I don't get on the hype train too much on. I like Hassel quite a bit.
No, I like that. And I like how you describe that, because if a guy just pulls 3 home runs, to me, that's not the same as going left field, center field, right field, And I was explaining that on Abrams in spring training. He took his first home run. He took a fastball away. He goes to left field. He takes his next home run. Well, one of them they called it foul, but it looked fair. Whatever. I'm just calling it.
I saw that. Yeah. Right.
He takes a curveball down, and he basically golfs it. When the left-handers are supposed to crush that pitch down and in, he takes that one out. Then he got a fastball in, and he took it out to right field. All three is 3 different pitches and 3 different scenarios on home runs, and I really like that. To me, that going back to Hassel.
Right.
The thing I haven't really seen him play that much. I saw him play like once or twice, but it's just the on base percentage at that age. If you're able to know the strike zone at that age, to me that means you're going to be able to play, because then you're not just he's hitting 310, but he's got a 317 on base percentage. It's like, okay, well, they'll figure him out, and he's chasing too much. When that kid's fucking walking almost every game, once or twice a game, that. At that age, that is impressive.
The best thing I like about him is you talk to him off the field. We were talking in spring training. He's a very polite Southern kid. Yes, sir. No, sir. Very nice. You see him play a game, and the ump calls a ball like just off the plate. He kind of has this look, or he may even say to him like, "Hey, what the fuck was that?" I mean, he is a competitor. And the thing about him is that they didn't really portray in the about the draft is when I was reading, guys like Cooper and Callis who saw him, they're portraying him as maybe who can kind of play. He can play center field, and he can run. I mean, I think he had about 35 stolen bases last year. Really good idea of the strike zone. The one thing I would go about Abrams that you have to remember too is Abrams is a left-right guy. He's right-handed, plays shortstop, obviously bats from left side. Guys like that, because when you hold a bat, your dominant hand, if your right hand, is always near the top. If you're going left-right, your dominant hand's at the bottom. Abrams is really good at shooting the ball at the left and to center. Pulling is what they were kind of really working with him on last year. The difference is Hassel's a left-hander, and Hassel has no problems going all the different ways. And he pointed out that he learned how to go to left field because when he was an alternate side, and as he described it, he said, for the first month I was out there, I was getting my ass kicked, base running, defense, hitting. And I finally, figured out how to do some things. I learned how to take the ball the other way. And that kind of stuck with me. And I kind of got into that. And he said a little too much. So he's going to kind of go back to pulling. So you might see a few more home runs, but just his overall approach and just how he goes up there, he's like light. I put it this way, unless he's hurt or there's something, I don't see him having any problems at Fort Wayne, unless he doesn't like the cold weather, which is very much very real. And Northeastern Indiana in
Yeah,
April.
I want to see him in Double-A at least pretty soon. I would
Yeah.
like this question. Won't they say we're manipulating the service time of? I think he's talking about Abrams. So
Yeah,
basically, isn't there like a new rule? Isn't there like a new rule that, like, remember Tatis kind of dominated and was like, well, we want the service time thing. So he's asking. I'm not positive on that. Do you know?
I think,
on
well, one,
that
I don't think there's not a rule, and then two, with Abrams, you're talking about a guy who has 348 plate appearances career, and over half those are in the Arizona League. He has like 160, 170. Look, as much as miserable Padre fan might not want to agree with this, I like Abrams as much as anybody as a prospect hugger in chief. Okay, I just don't think he's ready yet. I mean, the one thing is, in the spring you see a lot of fastballs. Okay, he can hit a fastball,
right?
But how well he can hit a fastball with a changeup and the breaking pitches, just let him see that a little bit. And yeah, I am pretty sure that they're going to do exactly what you said. Kim is the everyday shortstop to start. Abrams starts in El Paso. We'll come back May 1st and see what's happening.
That's the smartest thing to do, because the only thing putting him on the opening day roster is you can only hurt him. It's not going to, benefit of the Padres that much. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would, because, I mean, I would like to see his bat and speed on the team. Don't get me wrong, because we got some holes in this lineup, but I would much rather, let's say the Padres lost 2 more games because he wasn't there, or a game, and you feel like, oh, Profar sucked, and we, okay, well, I'd rather have that than, oh, Abrams is up here and he's 2 for 29 and now he's mentally fucked up. I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's a great idea. Let's suppose Cronenworth was injured too, and they put Kim at second base and Abrams there. Is he the best player? Yeah. Should he be up there? Will that help him in the long term? I'm not sure. Like, as we just talked about earlier with Weathers, I'm not sure that's really helped Weathers' career going from low A to pitching in the major leagues. There's a difference at each of the 3 levels, and I think how it took me a really long time and asking a lot of annoying questions, I think, to finally get to this point. I think the best way to explain it is, if you were drafted and you're coming up and you're playing in the rookie leagues and you just swing at strikes, you're fine. You go to A-ball, maybe a guy throws you a slider for a strike, or on the outside corner, you let that go because you think, hey, if he can throw 2 of them, he's not an A-ball. You get up to Double-A, all those guys can play, and it's just a question of how consistent they are. So you have to have more of an approach. Did he show that in San Antonio last year? Yeah, he played half a year. Okay, he was hurt I think in early June. I think he's a great talent. I don't want him to trade him.
He played 40. He played 41 or 42 games.
Yeah, he
played 41 or 42 games. And Padre Twitter wants a 2-week spring training and him to be on the opening day roster. I'm like, dude, let's develop these kids. We did this with Weathers, We did this shit with Weathers. It's like, and it's like, to me, you're just ruining the development of these guys.
I get very crap. He wants to trade every single damn prospect alive for somebody, for like to bring Ty Cobb up from the dead. But suddenly Abrams, like, he wants to start him up now. I joke that he's like the East County Future Farmers Association farmer. He wants to raise all these prospects up for slaughter to send them out in trades. So
Padre Twitter doesn't care about prospects, man. Padre Twitter don't care about prospects except for like the first, like, the best ones, like Hassel and Abrams. They'll be like, okay, keep those guys, but like everyone else, who fucking cares? I'm like, dude, Jesus, you gotta, this guy wants to know about Matt wants to know about Josh Mears. Your opinions on Mears? He had a really good year, and then he got hurt.
Yeah, he did. One thing on that, on Padre Twitter, like, I think I'm a member of that too, and I will say this is that, you should just be concerned about the really big guys because they can come up, and they can be a member of the team. Because when we talk about guys making the San Diego Padres, we're not talking about 25 or 30 guys. We're talking about, unfortunately, 4 or 5 guys. So most of these guys we talk about, they are going to be traded or released or sometime in the future, and they're all very good. But yeah, with guys like Abrams and Hassel and Gore and Campusano, people who can not only be a major league player but a difference, those are the guys you should be concerned about. Now, to go to Josh Mears. Mears is a beast. Mears is another guy who's got our body fat around 4 or 5%. Only he's 6'3". He's 245. They ran him out in center field a little bit this year. Yeah, he's another guy that can play in the middle. Very athletic. He's from Washington State, so he didn't really kind of grow up in this like supercharged travel ball, Southern California environment. He's made a lot of progress. He's had a strikeout rate that was pretty high in Lake Elsinore. He had injured a few times, but he walked a lot, and God, when he hit the ball, he crushed it. I mean, he's hit some of the longest home runs we've ever seen. So we're looking forward to seeing him. He'll be out there in Fort Wayne. Yeah, I mean, Fort Wayne's going to be a really good outfield. As far as outfield depth, it's going to be a little weak in the upper levels. I like Jose Azocar more than most of my fellow MadFriars writers. I rated him pretty high, and David J kind of had this comment, goes somewhere along the lines is, maybe we need to take the keys away from Grandpa when ranking prospects because I put him so high. But Azocar can play all three positions. He was a guy who was in the big league camp. I thought he looked – I think he still is. I'm not sure if he got sent down to El Paso. He probably will. He came over from Detroit, and the Padres really worked on getting him to have better plate discipline. He's someone I could see coming up and getting put on the 40-man roster. The other guy will be in San Antonio. We go back and forth on him. Tirso Ornelas, Tirso's a huge beast of a guy. Just a lot of times he hits the ball too much on the ground. And I teased Danny Ortiz. He can kind of be the Mexican Hosmer in a way, which –
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is not a great moniker to put on him. But he's going to get a chance to play. San Antonio is probably going to be the weakest of all the four affiliates this season. Fort Wayne will be – if you're in the prospects, Fort Wayne will probably be the team to watch.
Yeah.
Three of the pitchers there will be kind of fun. Robert Gasser's the main guy. You should keep an eye on, a lefty they got in the draft, number 3 pick. Elsinore's going to be fun, but just James Wood and Jackson Merrill, who was the number 1 pick at shortstop. Merrill's a fun guy to watch too.
That's what I've been telling people is like our so-called rankings, whatever. They don't have us really high is because we don't have that many guys in AA and AAA that are probably on the way up, but we got a lot of guys in high A and low A. So I say to come this time next year, Padres, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh shit, this system's pretty good."
We could, if put it this way, if James Wood has the type of year that he had in ACL, if he hits around upper threes with a 4 on base and he could steal 40 bases with about 30 bombs, we're going to be talking a lot about James Wood. I hope we do. Efren Contreras. I see that. Efren Contreras I like. He's kind of he's similar to a lot of guys you see. He doesn't have a great fastball. He doesn't have a great changeup. He doesn't have a great slider, but they're all good. And he likes to throw them at any single time during the count. Yeah, he's coming back from Tommy John. He hasn't pitched, I think, in about 2 years. So they're going to probably start him off slow. Okay. Reggie Lawson is a guy that we're kind of hoping is going to be better this year in terms of health. Because when Reggie's on, Reggie's a lot of fun. You've seen Reggie pitch before.
I've seen him. Yeah. When he's on, he's good.
Yeah, he is a lot of fun.
It's just like the strike zone. Sometimes he gets a little wild, but that was when he's on.
Yeah,
he was.
Oh yeah,
nasty slider or whatever breaking ball. Yeah, it's pretty good. What'd you think of last night, John? Is that Coach K? Farewell. North Carolina said farewell to you, buddy.
Oh,
that was a great game. That was a great game.
I like to keep my Duke fandom on the down low. I'm not really that proud of it.
But that was like an instant classic, like right from the get-go. Like, I mean, it was kind of slow at the beginning, like they weren't scoring. And I don't like playing in those domes. You can't see in the background, like for shooters. So I had a feeling that both teams would shoot. Like I think Duke shot 23% from 3. And if they play in a real normal arena, I don't think they do that. But when both those teams started getting it going in the second half, I don't know, about 10 minutes left in the game. That last 10 minutes was as good as it gets for college basketball.
Well, for North Carolina to win it on the shot that Love took from where he took it with a 7-footer in his face and to stick a three,
Yeah,
you win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
Right.
Duke didn't lose that game. North Carolina won. It was a good game.
Oh yeah. Whoever won that game won the game. Yeah, it wasn't.
100%.
That was. I mean, being a North Carolina fan, that was as good as it gets for me. But all right, he's got. Let me see.
That's your reward for years of being a Lions fan, right?
Oh, I need a lot more than just that, John. I need a lot more than just that. You add in the Padres and all the years I was a Charger fan. What is this possibility? Javi Guerra gets DFA'd so they can make room for Abrams or someone else? I don't think that's a possibility, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. You got to put Abrams on the 40-man roster. So I don't know if they want to do that right now. Javi Guerra, put it this way: if you're a team like the Orioles or the A's or any team that's tanking, Guerra's gone. I mean, the amount of guys who can throw 100 miles an hour like him
with some movement.
Trees. The problem is his movement. The problem is the curve, his slider, ability to throw a changeup. The thing that got to me was I got to see this when I went to a Features game in D.C. was when I saw Hunter Green throw. He threw a 102-mile-per-hour fastball to Tatis on the inside of the plate, and Tatis pulled it.
Oh yeah, in the All-Star game.
Yeah,
and he pulled it for a single in the All-Star game. Yeah, I remember that.
That takes a long time to compute in your mind that he's throwing 102, and as long as I can see it, I'm going to tag it. I can see it, and it's straight. And that's the problem that Javi Guerra has. Like him, a tremendous defensive shortstop, just never could hit.
Yeah. You got anything on what is the guy they drafted? I think it was from Arkansas. Is it Coop?
Oh, Copps.
A reliever?
Yeah, Kevin Copps. He had like a PlayStation senior year at Arkansas. 25. Yeah.
He's already 25?
Yeah. Now what you just said is that he's got either a slider or a cutter. I need to see it up close, but it is a pitch that no one can hit. He can throw it for a strike. He can get people to chase with it. The whole question with him is, does he have enough of a fastball to set the thing up? So he probably will. He'll probably be at El Paso. You're going to know the answer about whether he can come up pretty quick. This is not something where we're going to be talking about him for 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's going to be this year. We'll have an idea.
The guy I talked to, he says some of the pitchers on the Padres, some of the relievers are like, this guy's ready, and I was like, oh shit. Some of the relievers,
I just think.
I don't know if they're right. I mean,
just one pitch is, unless you're Mariano Rivera, that is really very tough. I'm not sure that pitch is quite there.
You can't have just one pitch. I mean,
you got to have a half of one at least. Yeah, that's the thing.
All right, I'll ask you before you get out of here. What are you predicting for the season? You think they're going to make the playoffs, or what do you think?
With expanded playoffs? Yeah, I would say they would. I mean, I think I've seen the odds better than I do. I think the ones I saw were on 88. I think that could be about right.
85 to 88, I see.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not the one criticism I would have on the media a little bit, the three main guys who I like a lot, and AC and Dennis Lynn and AJ Cassavell, is I don't think they've still gotten a really good story about what went wrong in the last third of the season with Jace Tingler, because things obviously went right in 2020. What fell apart so bad? Because you listen to the guys now when they're talking about Melvin, it sounds like it was just chaos there. And I wish I kind of knew, because I don't. I'm not wasn't in the locker room. I wasn't traveling, obviously, with the team. I don't cover the major league team. I wish I knew more about that. So it seems like Melvin can kind of make a difference. I do think if they're going to win, it's going to be because the pitching's really good and the defense is tight. And they hold on until Tatis gets here. if Clevenger and Darvish are injured early on and a couple guys don't come through, well, we talked about this before we went on there. It could be another long Padres season for some old guys who've watched the Padres play for a long time. So
yeah.
I hope that's not it. I really do hope that's not it.
All right, let's get you this last question, and then you can.
Sure.
I've had you on for over an hour.
Yeah, it's fine.
What do you think of this one? How about the younger guys like Victor Acosta and Samuel Zavala? Is that how you pronounce it?
Zavala. Yeah. Acosta's a switch hitter. The Padres gave him a lot of money in the international market. He's about, I think he's year 17 or 18. He's going to be in Arizona. He's going to be in the Arizona Complex League. Highly unlikely either he or Zavala will. We'll see Elsinore this year. Yeah, they're both really good. Acosta is a little bit of a smaller guy. He's maybe about, I saw him in spring, was briefly chatted with him. He's about 5'9". You can't miss him. He's got a bright blonde afro.
Oh, really?
Moves well. He got $1.2 million. So there's somebody that sees something in him that's pretty good. So I think we'll know more about those guys in the ACL. It's really hard to tell or make many things out of the Dominican stats or just seeing these guys in spring training games, and especially in the minor league games where you're just seeing them play against each other. It's hard for me to sit there and go, well, I project him 2027. He'll be with the Padres. He'll feel about 40. Yeah, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, no, I got you. Before I'll ask you one more question.
Sure.
Besides like Abrams, Gore, and Hassel and Campusano, who's like the one guy that you feel like, okay, he's gonna have like, is it James Wood? Is like who are you the highest on? Basically, is what I'm saying. Besides like the names that everyone kind of knows.
Yeah, I'll go on the easy one. The guy we put number 5 and should be number 5 on every prospect list is James Wood. I mean, I just don't. 6'7", athletic with power. I like that. There's
I like that too.
Yeah, there's my big scouting prediction that, I like 6'7" athletes who can hit with power. I think that's kind of fun to watch. A guy cruising center field like a giant pterodactyl, I think that's going to be a blast to watch too. I think if you're in San Diego and you're a Padres fan, whether he makes it or not, which we don't know, I think that's worth the drive up to 15 to find out. I mean, not every day you're going to see a dude 6'7" roaming around center field or just taking at bats. When you watch him play, he moves. Mark's absolutely right. He moves like a guy who's about 6 feet. That's what just freaks you out. When
awesome.
You watch Kyle Blanks, you would know that, okay, this guy is 6'6", 280. Yeah, I mean, that's cool, but this is a different athlete. Merrill's a fun guy too. Merrill.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that. So what's going to be in the low A? It's going to be Merrill, Woods. Is that it?
Yeah, those are the two main guys. Merrill, Wood, another guy who another guy who they kind of liked a lot in spring and they liked a lot in the draft. He's come off of college years. The guy Max Ferguson. He's from University of Tennessee. He was someone to watch. The guy, I'm not going to pronounce it because David J. will make fun of me, Victor Lizarraga. If he's up there, he should be fun to watch. But, if you're, the thing I think it's really good about MadFriars is I think we can appeal to, like, multiple levels of people. Like, if you want to know, if you're like our friends on the Friars on the farm and you want to know who the backup infielder is on Fort Wayne, we're going to tell you that. Wolf stuff on him. If you're a Padre fan and your whole thing is like, I'm going to read you guys, but just what you just said. Like if there's someone outside the top 4, I want to be aware of it and know about it. So when it comes to the national thing, I'm kind of familiar with it. We have that there. The thing I'm most proud about on MadFriars was, with all the guys on there, David J., Kevin Charity, Mark Wilkins, Ben Davey, and Ryan Payne is, I think for the past 4 years, we've not missed one day of, just the rundown on the minor leagues, and that's for free. Everybody can read that. Any money we get off our subscription goes to pay just for hotels, rental cars, and flights. None of the money goes for David J to eat at Arby's. We're really pretty adamant about that. And, the best thing about making up on Arby's is he's a bigger food snob than me. And he's never even graced Arby's. The reason I got him on that was I was in San Antonio. I went out to get some barbecue one time at this place, Lockhart. And they have 3 of the most famous barbecue restaurants in Texas. And I tweeted, I said, man, there's an Arby's. How does Arby's even survive in this area? And Jay tweeted back, because stupid people need a place to eat too. So that's why we tease them about Arby's. But yeah, the money's there, so we appreciate everyone who does that. And yeah, I would really follow him. James Jackson Merrill, I wrote an article for his local paper. You can Google that. That's for free, the Severna Park Light. He's kind of fun. He's a bigger kid. He's about 6'3", 200 pounds. He was about 5'7", 140 or 150 when he was a sophomore. Had a growth spurt, hit the weights really hard. When you watch him play, he's kind of fun too, because he's a bit of a gamer. And you can watch him. He's a little intense. I'm not sure if he has the arm to stay at shortstop. Left-hand hitter, has some power. Interesting thing is both him and Wood are kind of from areas close by in Maryland. And they played on a travel team, I think, growing up. So they know each other. And I think that's kind of a cool story too.
That is cool. And the guy I was talking to this week, I was, seeing some guys down there in Peoria. He was telling me, he's like, man, these guys just look the part. I mean, no more Corey Spangenbergs, and shit like that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Merrill's put together. I mean, he's going to get
Josh
a lot of
Mears,
there.
Mears, Woods, Merrill. He's just like Hassel. He's like, they just like look the part instead of, you're like, this is the guy, Kevin Nicholson. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think we should have a pretty good picture on our preseason previews that are coming up of Mears. And yeah, we'll run that. And hopefully anybody who listens to this, you'll see what Mears looks like. I mean, Mears is a big.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Tell everyone how much it is to get MadFriars.
Oh, it's easy. It's charities point out. We keep it at $5 a month or $40 for the year. We pretty much write during baseball season. If we have something happens, we'll write about that. You're not going to see us articles where we're going to have top 30 first basemen in the Padres system. We don't do that. So thing is, I think the only thing we charge for is when we go out and just to cover our costs. So last year, we had every single minor league affiliate at least once, most of them 2 or 3 times. We're on Ben and Woods in the morning on the Darren Smith show. David just is on John and Jim show. He's going to be the new contributor on there for this year.
Oh, cool.
We go on podcasts if asked, and I think we might have a role on the pre or post game show that's still being talked about. And
oh, sweet.
Yeah, and we really like all of our readers, and actually, Padres Twitter has just been great to us. So I'm always really appreciative of that, and people are really positive. So we really thank everybody for reading our stuff, and it's nice to know we're not out there. And there's actually someone reading it, so that makes us feel great.
Yeah, and we appreciate it, and thanks for coming on. And hopefully, North Carolina wins tomorrow, right, John?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, already North Carolina. Well, those guys were trolling pretty hard. So
honestly, John, I don't even care about tomorrow. I'm just glad they beat Duke.
Well, you got to figure Hubert Davis is going to be able to say, I beat Coach K on his home court his last game, and I knocked his ass out of the Final Four.
He crashed that party.
Yeah, that's a mic drop.
First year as a coach. They were like talking about firing him midway through the year. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, John.
I think he's okay. Hey, well, thanks for having me, Craig. It's always a lot of fun to come on and talk.
All right. Good talking. Till the next time, brother. Later. All right. So that was fun with John. You guys enjoy that? Thumbs up. You guys enjoyed that. Let me get some thumbs up. We're down to 8 people. I think we had like 20 at one point, 15, 20 people. I enjoy talking to him. I mean, he's got some, he helps us out with the minor league system. A lot of us don't know the minor league system. We got thumbs up from Brendan. Get Jim Russell on the show. I could probably do that. I could probably get Jim Russell. You guys got anyone else? I'm trying to get Woods. I think Woods told me he could one of these times. I'll get Woods on. Stephen Woods for sure. I probably could get. I don't know if you guys would want him. I would get Palais. I probably could get. I know Palais's been on here before. AC. I don't think AC's going to come on with me. That one I don't think I can get. Oops. What'd I do? That one I don't think I can get. AC. That's funny. Dennis Lynn. I've tried Lynn before and I came close. Get Mickey Coke. All right. There we go. He enjoys his time on here. Do you guys see me and him? I don't know. He's kind of battling with me. I kind of just wanted to let it go. My whole thing with Mickey Coke is I like the guy. He's fine. But just stop talking down to people. Stop the whole I know more than you and you don't know anything and this and that. It's just it's stupid. It's like if you don't like my opinion or something, I guarantee Tom doesn't agree with my opinion every time. Matt, Brendan, I guarantee most of you guys don't agree with my opinion every single time. But we all do it in a respectful way. We don't go to you and say, nope, that's wrong. Okay. They're opinions. It can't be wrong when it's an opinion. I think the Padres fucking roster is kind of a disaster. But what do you guys think of I could probably get him on too. What do you guys think of the trade that happened today? I mean, I kind of like it in the sense that we're stacked for starting pitching. I mean, I am not worried going into the season with starting pitching. You got enough guys. Mannion can give you innings. Darvish should be able to give you innings. Musgrove should be able to give you innings. And maybe Nick Martinez. I'm not positive on him. I haven't really seen him pitch. But it seems like he can. And then Paddock. Clevenger and Snell are not really innings guys, but I mean, Jesus Christ, those guys' stuff is as good as anyone in baseball. At least Snell. Snell's stuff's as good as anyone. He's 97, 98 on the corners and fucking dropping that slider. I do kind of think it's bullshit that Snell's not ready for the season. What is going on with that? What's his excuse? I like it because worst case, let me see it. I like it because worst case of the season doesn't go great. We can flip Mannion more than we can give up for him. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that for sure. I don't like it in the sense of we're kind of stuck right now because okay, let's say the season's going good. If we don't make a trade before the season and the season's going good, right? Let's say we're going to make the playoffs. We're 15 games above 500 when the trade deadline comes up. But we're over the luxury tax. And let's say we're one guy away and the Padres are like, no, we got to dump someone so we could get under the luxury tax. In that sense, I don't like it. But yeah, I mean, everything else, yeah. Yeah, basically I'm with Tom on this. I'm fine with it, just worried about how we're going to get back under the luxury tax. I am very worried about that as well. I didn't put it, let me see. Can I share it on Twitter? Why can't I? I already did share it on Twitter. I didn't put it on Twitter as well, so I guess I forgot to tell my one guy to be on. Fuck. All right. Let's see. Okay, Mannion gives you quality innings if Clevenger needs time plus Snell. Yeah, I think that's a great point, and especially at this time of the year. Obviously, Snell's pretty much not ready. I mean, he could start, but he's not going to give you 5-6 innings right now, right? I mean, if he started one game, he probably gives you 3 innings right now, 3 or 4. And I think a lot of guys are going to be 4 or 5 innings guys to start the season because you had a shortened spring training. You didn't have when pitchers and catchers report way earlier than the position players usually do. And then you rushed everything. I don't think our relievers are ready. A lot of guys haven't gotten a lot of action out there. Lament's got a lot of action out there. How many times have you seen Pierce Johnson? How many times have you seen Craig Stammen? I can't think of that many times that those guys have been out there. I think we're going to struggle with our bullpen at the beginning of the year. Robert Suarez, or however you pronounce his name. How many times has he been out there? It just feels like there wasn't enough innings because such a shortened spring training that I'm worried the pitching is going to struggle. But I think that goes for almost every team. So, and I think we're actually in a better situation than other teams because we have so much pitching depth. You know what we do with the Martinez and Paddock long-term this season? They're not really bullpen guys. Yeah. Now, what do we do with Martinez and Paddock? Yeah, I know. That's like, okay, let's go back to yesterday. I guess I'm in the minority on this. I'm in the minority where I did not want that trade to go through. And the reason why I didn't want that trade to go through, I'm a little more encouraged by it going through now because you got Mannion, but you give up Paddock and you come in next year, who's under control for next year for pitching? You got Darvish and Snell, and then you would have Nick Martinez, and that's it, and Gore. Are you going to count on Weathers? I don't want to pencil in Weathers into a starting rotation next year. You're going to count on Morahan coming back? He's already had 2 Tommy Johns. What I'm trying to tell people in Padre Twitter is we don't have any good young arms coming up except for Gore. When you can't just – basically what I'm trying to say is you can't spend for all 5 of your starting rotation guys. So everyone's like, well, they'll just sign Musgrove. Okay, that's for one more year. Then after that, you're losing Darvish and Snell because they're going to be free agents. Most likely you're going to lose both of them, right? Darvish probably retires and Snell, I don't know. I don't see Snell getting another contract with us. So my point is where 2 years ago, I was like, dude, we got so much pitching depth. Like we're going to have floods of guys that we're going to be able to trade a guy here and there and be like, okay, we got another guy coming up the following season. We got another guy coming up the following year after that, where you got plethora of pitchers just keep coming up. To me, you trade Paddock. I would much rather trade I'd much rather trade Weathers in that Hosmer deal, where it's Weathers, Hosmer, Pagan for Dominic Smith. I would much rather do it that way so that at least I know I have a starting pitcher in Paddock. Because I don't think Weathers is ready to be a starter next year. I think he could be like start a few games here and there and then be like in the bullpen and then work his way into the 2024 season as a starter. But when everyone just assumes because what I'm trying to say is everyone on Padre Twitter, I feel not everyone, but the majority, they just look at now. They just look at what does the roster look at now? I don't look at it just now. I look at it like, okay, are we going to be fucked in a year? Are we going to be fucked in 2 years? Are we going to be fucked in 3 years? Like, what do we have? Like the outfield situation. You want rentals in the outfield right now because you got your best prospects are basically in the outfield. Your best hitting prospects are in the outfield. You got Hassel. You got potentially Abrams. I consider him probably an outfielder. You got Mears. You got Woods. Like, okay, so you shouldn't go sign some guy to a long-term deal that's, like a Nick Castellanos or something. Shit like that. That's kind of what I was trying to say. A lot of people think I'm an idiot or I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about, which is fine. That's fine. I put myself out there. I think Paddock piggybacks Snell to open season. Yes, someone definitely is going to have to piggyback Snell, whether that's Martinez, whether that's Gore, whether that's Paddock. Yes, I agree with that 100%. We're going to get piggybacks on Snell. Obviously, it looks like Clevenger's not going to start the season, but Sean Manaea is. If they're looking good and want a final piece, I bet Siler would be okay with going over the cap. Yes, I would agree with that, Kirk, 100%. But I want that final piece not to be like, we need this piece to make the playoffs. I want that final piece to be like, we're going for a World Series. So that's what bothered me, Kirk, about last year is getting Daniel Hudson and Adam Frazier. I mean, those pieces kind of helped you in your mindset, like, okay, we'll probably make the playoffs or have a chance to make the playoffs with these guys. You weren't winning a World Series with the roster that they had and the way that things were going. So to me, it was dumb to go do that and get over the luxury tax. The gamble wasn't worth it. I don't know if someone wasn't doing the math, crunching the numbers correctly, or what happened. But you can't get those guys. Now, Kirk, if they got Max Scherzer in that situation last year, I would have been fine with it, 100%. Is that what I'm saying, Sean Manaea? I butcher names a lot. That's probably on me. I also like it because it's less pressure for Gore 100% right now. He could benefit another. Yes, I want Gore in the minor leagues. I don't see rushing Gore. I think what you're saying is you like getting Sean Manaea. I don't know how to say it. What's up, man? Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you put some ice in some water? Thanks, buddy. Do you need anything? What do you need? Soccer ball. Okay.
Soccer tomorrow.
You have soccer tomorrow? For what?
For school.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Where was I at? Yeah, he could benefit. Yeah, because if right now Gore wouldn't be in the rotation, right, Brendan? I mean, there's no way he'd be in the rotation. He'd probably be piggybacking one of the pitchers, which is just stupid. Let's just put him in the minor leagues and let's let him pitch 5-6 innings in the minor leagues and let's see him dominate. Because he struggled last year. He's had a good spring training. Did he get bombed today? Someone said he gave up a grand slam. Did he get bombed today? Or was it, some defense or maybe a walk or two? Yeah, and I agree with this. Project Twitter in the whole is annoying. Yes, I agree with that. I think a lot of people think I'm annoying. That's fine. At least I put my face out there, and let people know what's up. Yeah, that's why it was stupid. It was you're making moves like that and you're going over the luxury tax, and it's almost like you're just making moves to make moves. It's just stupid. Stupid, He did good until the grand slam. How did the guys? I'm going to check the numbers right now. How did the guys get on? Like a bunch of hits, or? I kind of look at the strikeouts though, because if you're striking people out, that means like the stuff is there, Hey, do you give me that water? Oh, thanks. Thanks, buddy. You guys want me to make a steak tonight? Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. I might make something. Let's see. Lement got bombed a little bit. 3 innings, 4 runs, 2 strikeouts, or 5 strikeouts. That's not that bad. That's not that bad for Gore. I mean, that's not good, but that's not that bad. It was a spring training HR. Yeah, that's a little cheesy HR. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, I'd put him in the minor leagues for sure. I'd put Abrams in the minor leagues too. I mean, what do you guys want to do with Abrams? You're going to put him in the minor leagues, or you're going to Bob Melvin's talking about maybe doing a platoon. To me, that just you're hurting the growth of Kim and Abrams. You do a platoon. I mean, that's just going to be garbage, hot garbage. You do it that way. I don't know what you mean by this. Hosmer wasn't too much concerned about. He had a hard time with the fastball location, but all other pitches were so good it barely hurt him. I don't know. Yeah, I want Abrams in the give Kim a shot, see what he can do for a month, at least a month. See if he can hold his ground, and then you go from there. Plus, you just don't want to rush Abrams. Like, I know he's had a good spring training, but If he had a full season in AA last year, then I'd be like, okay, then maybe he's ready. But when you only have like 40 games in there, like that's just concerning to me. It's really concerning. Yeah, exactly. I want consistent at bats. If he's getting the big league, sure, I'm fine with it. Yeah, either way, he's got to get consistent at bats. I mean, he needs to start every game if he's up on the roster. He needs to start pretty much every game. I'd put him in the minors, and I would tell him. And let's say he gets hot for like 2 weeks. I'd keep him there, and then I'd tell him, "Hey, man, get the outfield glove." I mean, I would give him an outfield glove now, dude. Yeah, you got to get something out of Kim. You got to find out on Kim too. You got to find out because I got an argument yesterday on Twitter. These guys are telling me that Kim has value. I'm like, what is his value? And I kept asking him. I said, because they kept telling me it's a good signing by the Padres. The Kim signing is a good signing. It was Mickey Koch and a couple other guys. They're telling me that it's a good signing by the Padres. I said, if he was a free agent right now, today, you're telling me he would sign a 3-year deal for $21 million? There's no fucking way someone's giving him a 3-year deal for $21 million. No chance. No chance. And they were like, he's got value. I'm like, no, he has negative value. But they couldn't understand it. They gave me some Iglesias contract. It was like 1 year, $5 million or something. I'm like, what? How is that close to 3 for 21? Yeah. So I don't know why it's not showing. Okay. Exactly. The glove is great. I think he's a better defensive player than Tatis. I don't even think it's close. I think he's a Gold Glover defensively, but I mean, offensively, we got to find out if the guy can hit. You got to find out, and this is your time to find out. Imagine it. Let me ask you this, guys. Imagine if Tatis was on the team. Where is he getting at bats? I mean, he still wouldn't be getting at bats. I hope he improves, Tom. I hope he improves. I think he will. But $7 million a year is not a backup. And that's another thing. One of the guys tried to argue with me because he was telling me how valuable Kim is. I said, what was the point of signing Kim? And he said, to be the next Chris Taylor. And I said, okay. Chris Taylor plays left field, plays center field, plays right field, plays every position in the infield except for catcher and pitcher. I mean, Kim was going to play shortstop, third base, and second base. So, making it like as if he's the next Chris Taylor is just a joke. What are you looking for, bro?
My shorts.
It's really under there?
Yeah.
You kids are unbelievable, dude. Okay. Oh, were they really? Well, if he's willing, hey, stop, dude. You're ruining my thing. If he's willing to play there, I mean, I guess you got to find somewhere for him to play. So if he could play there, then yeah. Okay, I believe you. I never heard it, but I believe you. I mean, the kid needs at bats. We need to find out on him. The problem is we're on a team where it's like a playoff team, you don't really want to find out on guys. You want, like, we're supposed to be a playoff team. I mean, you got a payroll that's what? Now what's our payroll? Is Matt still on here? Matt, what's our payroll? Is it 230 now? How much over the luxury tax are we now? 6? Anyone know? I'm a little concerned on that. Because they obviously didn't want to go over the luxury tax. And all of a sudden they went over it. You found one? $233. So it's, and 230 is the number, right? So 3 million over. I'll tell you what they might be banking on. Tell me if you think I'm crazy. Put that, you're blinded. It's coming at my eye. One thing I think they might be not banking on, but kind of thinking maybe we got a chance at is Hosmer or Myers has a good first half and they flip them at the All-Star break. They kind of regain their value and they flip them at the All-Star break, obviously with the prospect involved. You know, like even if it's Myers, you're only going to have him for a second half and it's like buying a prospect. So, you know, someone that's down in the season, you know? Yeah. And if the season goes bad, I was saying this. If the season goes bad, you got a lot of guys you could flip. Snell, Darvish, these two pitchers right here. So you got a lot of guys you can flip if the season goes bad. You could definitely do that. But is Preller going to do that? Because I think if the season goes bad, he's gone. I don't see how he comes back. At least I hope not. I mean, if the season here's the thing though on the Hosmer. I just didn't like it in the sense that we're still eating up more than half of it. We were saving 24 million. I mean, it's just not enough, dude. It's just not enough, in my opinion, to get rid of Paddock and Pagan too. Like, I know Pagan's not good, but you're going to need him. Like, who else you going to throw out there, man? He's got to be one of your, like with Luis Garcia and Pomeranz both hurt to start the season. I mean, when is Garcia supposed to come back? You know, and then he's going to need basically a spring training because has he even pitched at all in spring training? And then that's going to take some time. So you're not going to get either one of those guys. You're not going to get Pomeranz until probably July. You know, I know he comes off of it in June, but you're not going to get him back until closer to July because he's going to have to revamp his fucking arm. Although, well, he's on the 60 day. He could be available or would have been available middle of May. And then, you know, I'm hearing the possibility the Mets want to flip Hosmer and they couldn't just send Hosmer to the team the Mets want to trade him to. But he can say no to the Cubs, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Is he had a few names that he could say no to? I mean, I don't know why the Mets wouldn't have done that deal. To me, you're buying low on Paddock. I mean, really low in my opinion. And Hosmer, I mean, he gives you at least something, you know, and you're only paying him like $6 million. I would do it. I mean, I would have done it. I think this is a great question. I think what I've been told actually, well, he didn't kind of tell me it. I kind of hinted it towards him and he said, yeah, I could see that. The guy I get a little info from is I said, dude, the players all love Hosmer. It's pretty obvious the players all love him. Nobody, I thought, okay, hold on. I thought Hosmer can veto going to the Cubs. Oh, it's because it's a twice trade. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So what you're trying to say is trade Hosmer to the Cubs, what the Cubs are willing to give up, and then trade that into the deal back the other way. Is that what you're trying to say? Okay. So how much do you think the clubhouse hates Preller? He's actively trying to trade 25% of them. I think the clubhouse really hates Preller in the sense that, one, he's actively trying to trade people. They don't know if they're going to be there and shit like that. And the other thing is, I don't think he communicates with them. You know, I don't think he's, you know, around. He's always like, doesn't seem like he's around the team a lot. And I don't think he communicates with his players. I feel like they don't really, if you don't have communication with someone, it's like, fuck, dude. You get full trade He get full no trade after being traded once. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Well, who gave him those contracts? Who gave him those contracts? Preller did. He put in those that he could veto trades and all this stuff and all that crap. Darshman to start the season. Poor Dominic. We always struggle there. We always struggle there. And that fucking Merrill guy, isn't his name Merrill? He always pitches good against us. And then Zach Gallen, whatever his name is, he always pitches good against us too. I don't know. I mean, I think we'll bomb Bumgarner. And then, yeah, Mannion. Yeah, I like Mannion and Musgrove. Yeah. And then who's for? Nick Martinez? Or we go in Merrill Kelly. Yeah, that's who it is. Merrill Kelly always fucking balls us. That's just those people are dumb. If you think Hosmer's a bigger problem than Preller, that's the problem I have, Matt, with Padre Twitter. That's my big problem. Is like they're so short. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but they're not looking at the big picture. You know, like Hosmer's $20 million. Like, yeah, that hurts. It's really hurting the team. His defense sucks. He's not hitting for enough power. He hits with runners in scoring position, pretty well. If you got first and third and games on the line, I don't really mind. Yes, they are biased. But the problem with it is if that was the only problem we had, like that's a hell of a general manager. If you're just looking at the roster and you're just like, we got one problem and it's I overspent for Hosmer. Every general manager in baseball would take that. But when you look at the roster, yeah, Cronenworth's, really good. Tatis, I mean, let's be honest. He's got a history of injuries. I mean, that is a problem. Is he a great player? Yeah, he's a top 5 player, top 3, number 1 when he's fully healthy. He's doing all the shit that he's capable of doing. Manny Machado, $30 million. I don't know. He's probably worth about 25. But there's nothing really wrong there. The catchers. You traded a shitload to get Nola. I mean, he's been a disaster, basically, always injured. Alfaro hopefully hits. But you got 4 catchers right now going into this. Starting pitching. Darvish made $20 million last year. Not a peep. ERA over 4, right? Snell made, I think, 13. I think he's making 16 this year. I think it goes by the AAV, though. Whatever, close to 15. He had an ERA over 4. Clevenger always hurt. Yeah, I would guess the same too. Clevenger always hurt. Musgrove's been great, and he's got a cheap contract. I think he makes about 8, so that's good. Paddock's, still young, but he got bombed. Your right fielder makes $20 million. He sucks. Grisham doesn't really make any money. He's fine. And you don't have a left fielder. Like this whole well, it's just Hosmer. It's Hosmer. It's just stupid. It's just dumb. Like I just I almost mute those guys if you're just going to blame Hosmer. If you just tell me Hosmer sucks and then you tell me Myers sucks and you tell me, other players on the team suck, then I'm fine. I'm cool with you. And you tell me, Preller, this roster isn't like what it should be, then I'm cool with you. But if you're just going to go, the Padres suck because of Hosmer, it's just like, okay. Like I saw people trying to go through because of Hosmer. I'm like, how did it not go through because of Hosmer? You put it in first of all, I think the Mets just said no. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Hosmer did say, I'm not going to the Cubs. But if he did, guess what? Your general manager gave him that opt-out or gave him that trade situation, Yes, there's way more than just Hosmer. Way more. That's the problem. If it was just one guy, it'd be easy to just blame him. It's not like a quarterback. on a football team where you're just like, dude, we got a good defense. We got a good O-line. We got some weapons. This quarterback sucks. That's our problem. Thank you. This is pretty much what it is. It's easy to scapegoat Hosmer. He's been a massive disappointment. His refusal to make adjustments is irritating, but he's far from the only problem. Yes, I agree with that. And his refusal to make adjustments, yeah, he better make adjustments. I mean, basically, if I'm Bob Melvin, I'm telling him, you need to lift the ball in the air or I'm fucking benching you. Okay? Because I'll just put Cronenworth at first base and I'll just, he did it right now. He just did it right now. I mean, I could look at it real quick. I'm sure it is. I mean, I used to like the guy. But it's just, you just get to a point where you're just like, this guy's just an idiot. He's just always talking down to people. Oh yeah, that's definitely a shot at me. Maybe I'll stream later so I could find validation in things I believe I know. Stay tuned. Yeah. You can do it all you want. I mean, you're making fun of me for having John Connniff on? You couldn't get John Connniff on. He wouldn't come on your show if you had a show. Be an 8 seed and win the national championship? Yeah. Yeah. Well, they were an 8 seed, right? That was pretty funny. That's pretty funny. It's hilarious. It was 100% targeted at me. 100%. But, oh well. Is what it is. Reason why I just unfollowed the guy is I don't like the way he talks to people and he talks down to them. And he tries to tell me, he told me basically that he has Preller's number. And I was like, I don't care if you have Preller's number. Why would I care if you have AJ Preller's number? So that just means whatever you say is correct because you have AJ Preller's number? No, that's not how it works, pal. What do you think? AJ Preller's going to no, I got a big ticket on North Carolina at the beginning of the season. I'll hedge it. I'll hedge Kansas just so I can win some money. I'm going to win some pretty good money. I had North Carolina at 45-1. I hedged a little bit on Duke. We'll hedge a little bit on Kansas. But yeah, so, I mean, whatever. The guy says what he wants to say. It's cool. All right, fellas. You guys got to get anything else? I'm going to get out of here. Probably make some food. It's already 6 o'clock. Maybe I'll just pick up some food and go from there. Who you guys got tomorrow? Who's going to win, North Carolina or Kansas? I think actually it's probably going to be a good game. I don't know. Isn't Kansas favored by 4? It seems like a lot. Seems like a lot. Hell yeah, rooting for the Heels, baby. I'll be rooting for them too. But even if they lose, I mean, going to be in a bad mood. I'll just be like, okay. I mean, we beat Duke. We beat Duke and fucking ended Coach K's, you know? No, I didn't. No, I had John Connniff on, so I was talking right from the get-go. We just went into the Padres. Yeah. All right. You guys got any other questions? Anything else you want me to talk about before I get out of here? Thanks for coming on again. I forgot to put it on Twitter, so it didn't link out to Twitter, so we had a little bit less audience today, but oh well. I think it's way better on the YouTube. Everybody should be happy Duke is out. Yeah, fuck Duke. I can't stand Coach K. He's just a smug. I mean, those guys couldn't even shake their hands. Like, all I heard, I didn't hear one expert say that Carolina was going to win that game. I didn't hear one. I was like, damn, dude, not even one person is picking them. Usually it's like, I don't know, like 70-30. I mean, it was a 4-point spread. It wasn't like I don't know why everyone's, yeah, I think I was up to like 130 or something. So we're getting up there a little bit, but for some reason, those things go in like bunches. Like I'll get like 50 or like 30 in one day, and I'll be like, what? And then it'll be like 5 days later, it'll be like, you didn't get any. So I don't know how it works, Yes, Wendell Moore shook hands and Coach K, but the rest of the players just left. A bunch of babies. I mean, last time they fucking guy, one of the coaches didn't want to shake, I think it was Hubert Davis's hands. Like, I mean, it's just no class. No class. And they get that shit from their coach. He's an arrogant fuck that always thinks he's the greatest thing on earth. Wow. All right, fellas. Would you guys want me to get on Stephen Woods before the season starts? Steve Woods, I'll try to get him on. Maybe try to get him on Tuesday or Wednesday. If I could do that, try to schedule something with him before the season starts. Maybe get a prediction, kind of how the year is going to go. Bobby Hurley. Yeah, I think that would help you. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll try to get that. Let me see. I fucking tweet that right, dude. What a clown. All right, fellas, to the next time. Always appreciate you guys coming on. Don't forget to hit the like button. I guess you're supposed to say that crap and follow me on the YouTube channel. All right, fellas. Peace out.